Yo, what's going on guys? My name's Chevalric, and quickly before we jump into the interview that my crew, Waydot, and I did with Mod Timbo and Mod Ryan, the lead developers on the Necromancy project, I just wanted to quickly give you a overview on what we're talking about in this video. It will be the Completion Escape and only the Completion Escape. There are more parts for this Q&A that you can find on both my crew's and Waydot's channel. So if you're interested in watching those, I will link them in the description down below. Go check them out if you're interested in the entire conversation. We talk about, the raids, we talk about how the skill was developed, how they're seeing it with new players in combat, even some Iron Man stuff, and obviously the Completion Escape stuff, because that is, kind of my thing on this channel. And huge shout out to my crew for allowing me to use his part of the question that he asked, because trust me, he got them on their back heels, and that was amazing. So if you do enjoy this video, leave a like, join the comment section down below, subscribe if you're new for even more Necromancy content, and let's get into it. Enjoy.
I mean, whilst on the topic of niche community, Completion Escape people are not niche, but what will this skill mean for Completion Escape for just the release, but also for future content? Is it something you guys take into account?
Yeah, I mean, the release is kind of insane, in the sense that,
yes.
Just to put it in the things I can remember, there are 7 new quests. No, there's 8 new quests.
Oh, 8, yeah, sorry, yeah.
At a minimum, there are 7 new quests,
8, yeah.
because by the time the skill goes out, we'll see.
Yeah.
But there are minimum 7 quests. So that's Questcape, which inherently is Compcape. There's the fact you need 120. Then there's all the things within the skill that we will be making completionist requirements and or trimmed requirements. So that alone, you'll see people get their max capes back fairly quickly. Compcape's probably a different story.
So there will not be any grace period even on the level?
No, so we don't do grace periods for new skills.
You did grace periods for Compcape for Arc, not Max Cape. Yeah.
Did we?
So everyone lost Max Guild, but you could wear Compcape.
Did we?
Yeah.
Like I said, before my time.
I don't remember that.
That sounds wrong.
Yeah, because
I don't believe you.
Yeah, because essentially the idea is that the really cool thing about new skills is no one has a completion escape or max cape on. And I say it's cool because what you start seeing is people around you are wearing other capes, and it's kind of like, how when you run around RuneScape right now, you can see completionists everywhere. Not everywhere in inverted commas, you know what I mean, but you can see who is a completionist.
Yeah.
Whereas
sorry to interrupt.
Yeah, go for it.
There was also a 6 months grace period for archaeology-related requirements to the Completion Escape, Trim Completion Escape, and Master Quest Escape.
Wow.
So you still needed 120.
Yeah. So minimum. It doesn't. Yeah. So 120 archaeology was part of the requirements that had a grace period, alongside completing all the mysteries and stuff like that. The only thing that didn't have a grace period was 9 to 9 and Max Cape. So you got your Max Cape back, and then you instantly got your Comp Cape back too.
I do not remember that.
That doesn't sound like us. That sounds like a decision we wouldn't have made.
Yeah, that's a really good point, because I just don't feel like we would have done that.
It's also in the middle as well, at 99.
Yeah, I vividly remember.
We must have done that.
I mean,
I don't think we were planning it this time.
we should go and look. But for what it's worth, I think that from a design point of view, I don't mind making every comp requirement except the leveling grace perioded. Because I feel like the leveling experience is about when you see someone with a comp cape after a new skill release, you're like, damn, they've not completed the skill, but they've achieved the maximum level in that skill, and that's a feel good factor for both the person who's done it and the people around you. But everything else, a lot of grace period is just an interesting concept anyway. Speaking personally, I'm not necessarily a fan of a lot of grace period stuff. I agree with the grace periods that are inherently a lot of time. But other ones, I think, and sorry, I mean hard time gates. Not if it requires 30
the Master
hours.
Quest Cape effigy incubator.
Yeah, the Carapac D&D. Because if it takes 40 hours, yes, someone could play for 2 days and do 40 hours of gameplay, but there's no hard. I don't mind. I think those ones are fine.
If you do it once a week, you need to do it 8 times.
Yeah, then we may as well grace period, because otherwise we're saying for 8 months of the game,
I agree with that
wear
as well.
the comp cape. But yeah, we internally have so many conversations about comp cape all the time. Comp and trim, what's comp, what's trim, and it is tricky. Like I say, we don't want to get too much into the comp cape discussion, because
of course
it's tricky. But we have definitely thought about a lot of it for Necromancy, and what should and shouldn't be at least a comp rec, whether it's comp or trim is up for debate. But that point that you just mentioned is definitely one
We
I'll
need to
look
go and have a
into.
look
We'll
at
go
that.
and see what we think is right as well for this release.
Yeah, fair.
Maybe even if it's trying something new, and like I said, maybe it is 120 is the requirement to wear comp again.
I think that'd be completely fair.
Yes.
Yeah,
Plus, as a combat skill, it's inherently faster than archaeology, so arguably getting 120 would probably be like getting 99.
Yeah, not too bad, yeah.
And it's really fun to see as well what you're saying. Like I love it with the fort. There's a new building, and I see all these players just running around with their favorite skill capes and reverted skill capes, and then within an hour, all the same people have their comp capes again. Which is just, it's fun to see.
It's hilarious.
After the Completionist Cape talk, I wanted to bring something else up regarding necromancy and accessibility. And no, I'm not talking about accessibility for new players, I'm talking about accessibility for people with visual impairments like myself, but also for physical impairments, and see how the skill really applies to them and if there's any thought put into it. And thankfully they did. And here's kinda our discussion about it in short, and thankfully I was able to also talk to developers at length about it personally, one-to-one, so there's hopefully being things done about this as well in the skill, which is amazing in my opinion. And thank you for the opportunity again. Here's that talk.
Did you have any more questions? You said you had one.
Oh
didn't
yeah,
you?
sorry, it just slipped my mind. I was like, oh yeah, I had a question as well.
One more.
So when it comes to like accessibility for the skill for like newer players, but also people with impairments, for example, how do you tackle like design and just thinking out like how can we make sure that as many people can interact with this, like from visual designs to sound effects to everything?
Yeah, so I've got a few examples for you in Necromancy. It's always a constant thought in any design. There's a lot of complexity in like making the in terms of accessibility, but in terms of just like what's the word? Like we also have to worry about mobile as well. Like accessibility on mobile is very
UX, or
different.
user experience.
There's just a whole bunch of it's always a thought process. Just some things in Necromancy, like even just like colors, like constantly like, is this the right blue? You'd be surprised about how many conversations go behind like, it's not just, let's make it blue, it's like what blue, what specific blue? Do we need to add some like tints of black in there to like, you know, it's quite a complex conversation. And we do think about it with everything, like you mentioned with audio and colors, and
the skill icon through that as well. Like.
Yeah, the skill icon, like how it reads at different sizes, things like that. One of the big things in Rituals you may have noticed as well, there is an option to have a fixed camera.
Yeah.
That was made so that because there are various things we want you to click potentially to move around for, either like the moment you click, right, your screen is moving, and some people can definitely, if you're moving around a lot, you want to click on something, you misclick it, like maybe on a laptop or definitely on a mobile. When you're on a mobile, you're trying to tap the thing as your character's running. So we gave the option of like a fixed view so that you can just have it fixed and click everything in the exact position with no movement. So there are things like that. Like we definitely have a lot we can improve on in terms of accessibility, like for sure. But yeah, we're trying like step by step to do what we can. It's always a conversation. But yeah, we're working with it.
Awesome.